Okay, so the problem I'm going to be doing today is problem number 3. And problem number 3 is a word problem. It states, a drug is eliminated from the body through urine. Suppose that for an initial dose of 40 milligrams, the amount of A of T in the body T hours later is given by A of T is equal to 40 times 0.8 to the T power. So it is a two-part question. So for part A, it wants us to estimate the amount of drug left in the body after 6 hours, 6 hours after the initial dose. And it wants you to round your answer by 2 decimal places. So basically for this problem, it pretty much, for part A, it does the work for you because it gives you that equation. And from what we know previously, we know that T is the amount of time, and it tells you that your time is going to be 6 hours. So basically all I'm going to do is take this equation that it gave me already, A of T is 40 times 0.8, and we're going to plug in 6 for T. If you look, okay. So from there, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug that in my calculator and I'm gonna get an answer. It gives me 10.48, but there's a 5 behind it, so I'm gonna round it up to 10.49 because it wants us to round to the second decimal place. And that is literally all you do to get your first answer. So now part B is a little more steps to it, but it is essentially kind of going the same way. So for part B, I have an equation written up here. If you can't see it, I'm going to write it again. But it basically states A of T plus 1 over A of T. And I'm basically putting that current time that they gave us of 1 hour, which is why I did T plus 1. And I basically put that over the initial time of A of T. So it wants to know how much is eliminated after each hour. So we're basically working to find a percentage. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna rewrite that that equation. I'm gonna change colors so we can see it. Okay, so I'm gonna write, like I said, the same equation that I previously had, which is A of T plus 1 over A of T. And I'm gonna just keep that same equation that we used before and that we just plugged in for. We're gonna still be using that same equation. So I'm gonna have 40 times 0.8, and it's gonna be to the T plus 1 over 40 times 0.8 to the T. So when you look at this, you automatically should be able to tell that you will be able to get rid of some of these terms. So what we're gonna get rid of is this 40. We're gonna go ahead and divide the 40 by the 40, and that's gonna give us 1. So 1 times anything will still give us the same equation, so we're just gonna bring it down, and we're gonna have 0.8 to the T plus 1 over 0.8 to the T. So from there, our next step after we divide is going to be to use the exponent rule. So let's see. If you don't know the exponent rule, it's basically, I'm going to write it in a different color, but it's going to be x to the a power over x to the b power. And basically what this rule does, it allows you to set, if the bases are the same, it allows you to set the exponents equal. So it'd be, you can change that to x minus b. X to the a minus b. So basically I'm gonna go ahead and do that because it's allowing us to. So let me switch back to the orange. So our next step from there, if we follow the exponent rule, would be to take 0.8, I hope that looks like an 8, and we're gonna go ahead and do T plus 1 from the first one, and then we're gonna subtract T because that's our bottom part. And from there, we're gonna go ahead and cancel T's because T minus T, of course, is nothing. So then we're gonna be left with 0.8. So we're gonna get it will really be 0.8 to the first power, but anything to the first power is going to be itself. So we're gonna still have 0.8, but remember it wants a percentage. So we're gonna change this to be 80%, because we know that 0.8 is 80%. So from there, we're gonna subtract that from 100%. So we're gonna subtract 80 from 100, because 100 is the total amount, and we were trying to figure out how much is gone each hour. So if we do 100 and we take away 80, we are left with 20. So 20% is the amount that we have left over. That is eliminated each hour. And once again, all we did was, from the first part, we just plugged in. There's gonna give you an amount of time in red, which you just plug that in for T, and that gives you A. You just simply plug it in the calculator. And for part B, you're gonna follow that A of T plus 1 plus A of T divided by A of T. And from there, you're gonna get a decimal, and you wanna take your decimal, and you wanna make sure that you know that exponent rule, because it really helps. But after that, you'll be left with your answer.